Cancel culture, puppets, props, puns, podcasts.
We talked about everything. We'll talk about the show tonight, too. Jim Gardner retired, 46-year veteran.
Yes.
News guy. He looked like Captain Crunch.
News. Jim Gardner died?
No, he retired.
Oh. I didn't even hear he was sick. I guess no news is good news.
My friend worked at a movie theater, the Eric Ardmore. And the Ardmore Music Hall with the Smithereens will be in March. And
we played there with the Roddenberrys twice. Right. Yeah, it's a very nice venue and a lot of fun. It was like old-time rock and roll.
Oh, very cool. Well, Jim Gardner came in. I guess he lived out that way.
Uh-huh.
And he tried to smoke in the theater or smoke a cigarette in the lobby. And my friend had to tell him, you can't do it in here. Right? And he got all mad and stamped his feet and went outside and had to finish his cigarette because he's not a big guy either. And there's a movie called Anchorman.
Yeah.
Well, the guy who wrote it is Adam McKay.
Adam McKay,
who's from Malvern, Pennsylvania, which is where this guy lives at. But growing up in the Philadelphia region, it's around here. The news guys here were beloved in the 70s and early 80s. They were like, it was just like the movie Anchorman. And a lot of people say that Will Ferrell's look with that brown hair and the mustache is based on Jim Gardner. That's exactly how he looked in the 70s. Not the mannerisms, not the idiocy, just the look of it. In Philadelphia in the 70s, there's Jim O'Brien and him and Larry Kane.
Larry Kane.
Yeah.
Larry Kane was the only, he hung around with the Beatles. He was
there were 2 books on it.
I guess he was like one of the youngest, correspondents back in the 60s. Yeah. And Larry Kane, they let him on the,
there's the tour bus with them and stuff. It's very cool. It's but meanwhile, that was on ABC. On the other networks, had like lousy guys like Pete Schnitzel, Larry Dogfood, and they didn't get anything. No, they got no action for being news people.
Can I get a witness? All right. Gosh, John, what is your favorite movie, John?
But really, that's an interesting question. All right, I work hard all day selling pretzels.
Yeah.
Right, and it's good though because there's benefits. I can urinate in the weeds, and I'm friends with all the rats too. I throw them crumbs, but
you should be assaulted.
Oh, because I like movies with a twist. No, but I want to be entertained. I don't want to be made miserable by a movie. I want a laugh or a fun adventure. That's what I care about.
Yeah.
Right, and I hate people act. Like, I'm not saying they're pretentious because everybody's entitled to their opinion, but who wants to come out of sitting there for 2 hours forced to watch something that's sad or depressing or a gorilla checking into a
like
hotel?
A taping of The View.
Taping of The View. Yeah, something like that, right? But I want to be entertained and have fun. Go, wow, that was really... I usually say like my top 5 movies.
Okay, I like that better.
Right.
That would be...
I'll say
because can I say something? John keeps up with the movies. Okay, he knows all the heroes. He knows all the plots. He knows all the good ones and the bad ones to stay away with. And he still goes to the movies. Like
yes.
I don't know too many people who go to the movies now.
I go to movies on Monday nights because there's no crowd and there's no people there that yell out, "Oh, don't go into that room there." But wait
a minute. Why would they tell you not to go in the room there?
Certain demographics believe they can say certain words, and the people on the screen can hear them. Don't open that door. Accent.
Okay, we'll let it go with that, John, because we don't want to get in trouble with anybody.
Right, so my movies I want to be entertained by, and it's on the big screen. You can't go, I watch it on TV.
I used to love. I mean, there's sometimes when you gotta love when people heckle the actual
all right
screen.
My favorite movie is my favorite 5 movies. All right.
In no particular order.
No particular order. Then good. All right, because the first one I said it doesn't mean it's number. All right. I loved Aliens, the 1986 film, James Cameron. You saw it in the theaters. First time I was in a movie, people clapped and applauded. They screamed. Right there. And the soundtrack.
Nobody heard that in space.
No, that's right. The soundtrack, a movie like this that improved on the original, and even though they're fighting aliens, it's a war movie. It's a war. It's a it's a war.
Very reminiscent of a more modern war movie. They show blemishes and all what it is in space.
Fun movie. It's seeing it in the theater, just in the gut wrenching and then in the end with the giant queen, they got to fight that. Very cool. Second movie, my favorite movie of all time, Superman 2 with Christopher Reeve, where he fights against General Zod and the other people. When I saw the movies,
when he flies up and the guy goes, "Whoa, Jack!" Okay,
yes,
that's my favorite part.
But it was my God, would have Gene Hackman and General Zod, just incredible fun movie because Superman's already established. And it was just neat. It gave up, and it had a very cool ending. Superman gives up all his powers to be with Lois Lane, even though she had a rat face, right? He probably could have given her a piece of cheese on a ring instead of a diamond ring. So he gives up his powers, I don't know why, to be with her. He gets beat up on a roadhouse diner. A bully beats him up, and he can't fight because he's Superman. Now, this is weird, too. Just because he loses his superpowers, he still has the strength of a regular. He could fight the guy.
But he's spoiled all his life. He's been, super, and kill somebody when he has to throw a real punch.
That's true.
You think he ever had training?
Also, too. All right.
You think he let Mom, Kent hit them?
Superman is supposed to be like 6'2", 6'1", 6'2". He weighs 225 pounds, 230 pounds, I think, according to the books right there. He's 235 pounds there, right? 235. Right. And I know he has stronger molecular density than us, right? Mm-hmm. Why can't a football linebacker tackle him and knock him down? And you go, hey, Superman, his feet aren't part of the earth. This is the early Superman when he could leap buildings, not fly.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Because these are all these superpowers they gave him where he could see through walls and find coal sales. That
was the hole in the burlesque girls' dressing room.
Sorry.
That's the only wall I saw through.
Oh. So Superman 2, fantastically moved, right?
All right. I love Superman 2.
It's so fun. So at the end, though, Superman gets his powers back, and he goes back to the diner where the bully beat him up.
Oh, I've seen this scene many times.
And the guy's eating his food, and he goes, you got a problem? And Christopher Reeve says, yeah, I just never seen garbage eat garbage. And Superman beats him up. And it was so, like a ninth grade ending. Movie number three.
John Kensel's third favorite movie, or number 3.
I know, and it's not very pandering, too, because they're all blockbusters. But Jaws. Jaws is incredible. The soundtrack, I saw it on the 2015 for the 40th anniversary in the theaters. Oh my God, it was a great print of the movie, and you just hear that cello going dan 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 abba dabba, and it was just so cool. What a great movie! It's incredible.
Right, and when you take the tour of Universal, they still have Bruce the Shark. Yes. That was an electronic shark that they wound up not using, and they just used puppets, I think, instead. Or, they used Bruce once when they said, you need a bigger boat.
Yeah,
they say that about you because you got a dinghy. But
I swim a lot.
I wanted to see the remake of Jaws. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, look at that there.
Right
that's the thing.
Oh, and wait. If I hope the mic can pick it up.
Watch the tram car, please. Watch the tram car, please.
Oh, it's Watch the Tram Car from the Wildwood Boardwalk.
From the Wildwood Boardwalk. Wildwood is down out. But I wanted Jaws to that's what took a lot of the people away from the beach for a while. Mm-hmm. And if anybody has been to Wildwood, you know what this is. This is a tram car, and it actually came from the 1939 World's Fair.
Oh, from the McGonagall collection. My fifth favorite movie, I know a lot of people say like Shawshank, which is a great movie.
It kind of makes me uncomfortable in a couple.
It does. It's very yeah. But my fifth is I said Jaws, Aliens. Did I say Raiders Lost Ark?
You said
Jaws, Aliens, Superman 2. Oh, number 4 then, Raiders Lost Ark. I know Spielberg. It's probably his best movie besides Jaws. Just the way it unfolds, it's edited, the soundtrack. I saw that on the big screen too. Recently, like the past, it came out in like '83 or '82. But man, what a fun adventure! They went to capture a Saturday afternoon matinee serial matinee, and they perfected it.
Which one of the I too agree with. I think that the second one they had the kid on a roller coaster ride,
Yes.
like inside a mine or
Yep.
something like that. That
Too
one
frantic.
wasn't as good as the first one.
Too frantic.
Yeah, it was too frantic, and it was they had a little kid along the whole time. You don't want a wise little. I don't.
Dr.
I
Jones,
hate
Dr.
children.
Jones. All right, but the third one with Sean Connery was very good. Very good. They found it. What do you call it?
Sean Connery
a Crusader
when
with
he
a
was.
chalice.
In which one does the girl have "I love you" on her eyes?
The very first one.
The very first one.
Yes.
And because that was kind of, and they had Richard Attenborough in it. Wasn't he in it too? And I thought that, and to use the Ark of the Covenant as the Gulliver.
And
I
did
mean,
you ever hear the film nerd story that if he didn't do anything at all, he didn't even get involved in the adventure,
Right.
the same result would have happened. All the Nazis would have died. They opened it up, and that was it.
remember when it came out and people started, guys started wearing those hats? Okay, you'd see.
Oh, yeah.
Every now and then. I mean, it was funny to see a movie go into fashion.
Yes.
Okay,
Oh, but
and a lot of people wore that hat.
John Williams, the soundtrack guy who did
J.W. Icon.
every movie I just said, Jaws. He didn't do Aliens, but Jaws, Raiders Lost Ark. But when you heard it, Superman, he did the Superman 2 theme.
He was quite a composer.
Yes.
Beethoven. Okay. And what happened to Beethoven? He's decomposing now. But here's one of my favorite songs. Look right over there. Look. Roll Over Beethoven. Okay. Roll Over Beethoven. Don't look at me like that, John. Like I got a frickin' bounty on my head.
And my fifth favorite movie.
Your fifth. John Kensel's fifth favorite movie.
Okay.
You actually thought about this. I'm impressed.
I've talked about it before. We talk about when we come back from super comedy shows.
Sure.
It's funny. A lot of people say. I hear people say.
See, because I like the real old ones, and he likes to keep up with the contemporary.
But sometimes people will. It sounds like pretentious, like when they say, "Oh, it's not a Laurence Olivier film or something like that." But I said I want to be entertained. I don't know. I think The Great Race is a neat movie. The Blake Edwards film with Tony Curtis.
It doesn't hold up for me.
That's
The
true too.
humor. I mean, I remember seeing it in the movies, and when they had that incredible pie fight at the end.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and
It was directed by
Blake Edwards. And
Blake Edwards, who did, the most
every
famous Pink Panther.
all of them, but you got a point there. Some movies don't hold up like that, or it's a mad world. You love it; it's an epic, but But
I still like to say, I mean, if it's only for Ethel Merman and
Oh, my God.
and the guy who plays her son,
Dick Shawn.
Dick Shawn and Ethel Merman,
Mama, yeah.
that makes it
Don't
just
go away,
so
Mama.
classic for me. And that's my favorite part when he's going back for his mother. And
What's yours? Can you name them, or you're not going to say like
so let's go over your five. Okay, Alien,
Jaws, Raiders.
Superman 2, and what was the last
I was going to say The Great Race. I watched it, but
The Great Race? See, we were kind of
I don't know about that.
Got off track on that Great Race.
I'm trying to think. When we, like, I look at my house? Like, what do I own? Oh, Godfather 2.
Godfather 2.
2.
Okay, exactly. All right. That won the Academy Award too, didn't it?
A friend of
It was the greatest.
a friend I talk about on the show said, "It don't hold up. It don't hold up. Godfather 2, Caddyshack, it don't hold up."
I'll agree with Caddyshack, but there's there's moments that are so epic.
Oh man,
It's like why you watch the Marilyn Monroe movie where her dress gets blown up.
The 7-Year Itch.
One of my favorites. Okay.
It's but not hold up to. But some movies do hold. Like Airplane is as funny today as ever was.
Airplane's still up there.
Yeah.
No, they use a lot of props on Airplane. And Ethel Merman's in it too.
Yeah, she is. What's your? Don't you can say like Sullivan's Travels?
The movies I'm not going to say some. These are movies that I watch for sort of comfort food. I love the 1953 version of War of the Worlds.
Oh, great movie.
I could watch it over and over again, even though it has, Gene Barry. Okay,
But the way it was filmed, the Technicolor.
In Technicolor, and it was George Pal. Who directed it, and he was great with marionettes and things like that. He used to win because of stop motion sort of shorts that he did.
He got tons of tail with that.
There's going to be a war right here, okay? We're not going to do that. But,
Hey, ladies, I got a married puppy of his
but the War of the Worlds, it still brings me
Oh, my
back.
God.
It puts me into another, it's not too sophisticated.
It is really slick.
It's slick and it's filmed well and just the sound effects too. I could watch it with the picture off and just to hear.
Yeah. Yes.
And those sound effects are still used in
yeah.
movies. Okay,
Yeah.
that's like the number one sound effect. And I think that I'm gonna for my number two movie would be I think The Hounds of the Baskerville. Okay,
With the Barrymore guy? Owen, Clive.
But The Hounds of the Baskerville, when it was done by the
Hammer?
British guy, come on, now you make me not. No.
A modern one?
No, not the modern one. I didn't like the modern one
the
at
one,
all.
The one from the 30s, late 30s, yeah.
Nigel Bruce.
That's right, yes.
Yes, as Nigel Bruce as Dr. Watson. You need a Dr. Watson.
It was a very neat movie.
I'm just saying that because I love the entire Basil Rathbone as Basil Rathbone as Sherlock Holmes just does it for me.
Yeah,
okay?
he's a quintessential-
I didn't like the more modern ones or other people who played
Larry
Sherlock
Holmes or John Holmes.
It's just not real for me. But that one, I'm going to say just for the whole series there, and that's comfort food for me. There's one with that has the Crusher in it, okay, which is the guy that actually had a disease. Rondo Hatton, okay, Rondo Hatton, who was also in
The Fiend, The Fiend or something like that. Or he was known as The Fiend or The Ghoul.
The Ghoul. Okay,
And that's we go on these tangents. I know we're probably going to wind the show up. I'm talking, yapping for so long. Hollywood makes myths up. They said that Rondo Hatton was mustard gas during World War I, and he got his face all got distorted like that, which isn't true. He suffered from agronomy, something like that. Last week we talked about Humphrey Bogart. He was bald his whole life, right? But they gave him a noble reason why he wore toupees, because he got hormone injections so he could become more work on having a baby. And the overdose of the male hormone made him go bald, even though he was bald at like 20 years old. But it's a Hollywood story. But I'm sorry, we cut you off.
no, how do you make a hormone? I'm
How?
sorry.
Oh,
All right.
take away a
I'm sorry, I didn't mean
Klonopin.
that. I didn't mean that. My third favorite, okay.
Oh.
You know what? Hey. Two-con play at that, John, okay? My third favorite movie has to be, the second.
Oh, my God.
The Wrath of Khan right here,
right.
okay? The Wrath of Khan. And I find it that Ricardo Montalban is one of the greatest villains ever, okay? From playing, because he built a career on playing, musical dancing. He was like a real handsome Latin lover, like in the 40s. And at the time, he was actually doing Fantasy Island when he was filming this.
Yes.
And a lot of people ask, was that his real chest right there?
Yes.
Was that his real chest?
No, if you look at the picture now, it looks like he has breasts, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
There's a shadow.
And you wish, but no. But no, I'm sorry, John. That's a little tit for tat. But he was doing that, and he had problems with his legs. There was something, that his legs, that he couldn't stand up. He had he had a horse accident. He fell off a horse, and so he had trouble standing up. So he would do an incredible amount of push-ups and pull-ups and things like that, and that's why he was so so well built in the Wrath of Khan. But the Wrath of Khan is just, and it has that iconic scene with William Shatner going,
Yes.
Okay, which I hope I heard that in Jersey.
I never want a tangent though, real quick. If I saw the original episode, he played Ricardo Mama in the 60s series, a guy named Khan. They were genetically enhanced humans that were put on a plan to repopulate a planet, start a new planet. Well, the planet became desolate and rocky, and he lost a bunch of people, but they were enhanced human beings. Well, when they made Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, like 1981, he played the same character, 15 years later. And it was really cool. Like if his backstory in the character Khan thing, he got screwed over. The Federation left him there.
It's called The Space Seed.
Yeah.
That was the episode of
Mama said I'll go to hell.
I know. And he's so sexy. He takes off with like one of the officers.
Yes.
All right. And I thought so. That's my and I'm a big Star Trek fan because I'm in the Roddenberrys.
So you said Star Trek. You said Debbie Does Camden, and you said what was the first? Oh, Sherlock Holmes film.
It's Debbie Does Pensalkin. Okay, pay attention. That was the first
so it was
one.
Sherlock Holmes, Wrath of Khan.
Now I have to think what would be one of my
like a Marx Brothers movie or W.C. Fields or
W.C. Fields.
Oh.
It's a Gift.
Oh.
Okay, where he inherits or he wants to buy a move out of East Coast and go to California, and it's just the trials and tribulations he has with his family about moving out to the West Coast. And it is the best one of the W.C. Fields, who is also from Philadelphia. John, you have a question?
No, he died. He died 77 years ago on Christmas Day, 1946.
Oh, that's sad that he died like that.
My dad's grandparents are buried in the same cemetery, kind of by Juniata Park, by the golf course in Philadelphia, and W.C. Fields' parents are buried out there.
Wait, you know what? You should never give a sucker an even break. And I think of all the W.C. Fields movies, this one, It's a Gift, is the funniest, okay?
What's the one where he falls out of the plane going after a quart of whiskey?
That is International House.
All right.
Okay. That's sort of because of his... but he's in an International House, which he's with Edgar Bergen and
funny
the puppet.
movie.
And Charlie. You should know
Charlie
about
Bart.
this.
Yes, I do.
Right, with your little puppets. No, with Edgar Bergen, and he's in this giant sort of Zeppelin with a basket underneath it, and he's drinking like this.
He drops his whiskey.
He drops his whiskey from 30,000 feet, and he jumps to go get it.
Oh, and the funniest part is you see chubby W.C. Fields floating through the air like this, right? And he catches up with the whiskey, and he opens it and drinks it, and here he lands on a mountaintop resort on a big springy cushion. And they show him bounce. It was a crazy scene to film.
It went into the realm of surreal. It was
really
surreal, and it was sort of like you only saw things like that on Green Acres, or
very weird.
Or sometimes in the Marx Brothers, they'd be kind of surreal and just break the fifth wall or the sixth wall. My fifth favorite movie, John. You better listen.
I'm all ear.
Blue Velvet. Okay, that's why I said like that. I'm sorry, John.
No.
I mean, I was being Frank Booth. Blue Velvet by
David Lynch.
David Lynch from Philadelphia. No, he went to school in
Art school.
Philadelphia.
And
He's from
his
the
apartment
West Coast.
was where? His apartment, David Lynch's apartment, was directly across from the Philadelphia morgue. He would sit outside every day. He would see him wheel dead bodies in. And he said it's totally shaped his filmmaking.
He said he lived a couple years in Philadelphia without heat and would have to, just throw. So that sort of shaped him to make one of the weirdest movies ever. Okay, Blue Velvet. It's a sinister plot of, a young innocent guy who gets involved with these criminals, and they go through all sort of psychopathic.
It's crazy nightmare world of weirdo hipster leftover 60s.
We don't want to hear about your family life, John. No.
Oh,
Okay. But well acted. I thought it was very well acted.
Frank Booth, that Dennis Hopper was incredible.
He was Frank Booth. Frank Booth was the main bad guy.
Yeah.
And it was by Dennis Hopper,
Yes.
who lived a bad guy life. Drugs.
If you ever read about that,
things and
I'm
all
like,
these.
just going. I'm not going to go. There's a couple biographies of Dennis Hopper. He was totally insane, crazy. But when we talk about these movies here too, I know we have short attention span theater. If you could ever get a chance to see like Blue Velvet on the big screen, he
I've
did a
seen it.
lot of technique and camera angles. I'll tell to people and they go, I just watched the movie. I'm not looking for that stuff. I go, it's neat when you like something to know all about it. When you fall in love with a song or music or a record. When you watch the Blue Velvet, watch it. The film, how the color blue with the Blue Velvet, the song, the music, the weird. Who's the guy who just died? Who sang "Each Night a Candy Colored Clown"? They called it
Candy Colored Clown by
Roy.
Roy Orbison, best voice in the world. But he also mixed in innocent music. Blue Velvet itself was a big time, middle of the road sort of hit. Blue Velvet by Bobby Vinton. And the third one was Love Letters, okay? If you're going to listen to anyone that you probably never heard, Love Letters, and it's by a black woman who I forget her name, but it was an old-time thing, but she does it very slow, and it is part of the movies where they do at the most violent part, they play a slow song. The music was wonderful.
What does he? In the beginning of the movie, it looks like Americana. You see kids coming from school, and he's a high school student coming home. The kids with football jerseys. And he's walking through a field. He looks over. He finds an ear.
He finds a human ear.
There's all
It's a
ants
human ear.
covering it and stuff like that.
And he takes it to the police, and that's where.
And the guy was in there going, and he goes, "Sir, is this your ear?" He goes, "No, mine had a pencil behind it."
No, I didn't hear that. Okay, Van Gogh.
Oh.
They call the guy because they kidnapped. Okay, they kidnapped a singer's Dorothy Valance. She was played by
I forget.
Isabella Rossellini,
she's
who
a
was
twin.
married to David Lynch at the time.
Yeah.
Isabella Rossellini, who was the daughter of
The girl from the Humphrey Bogart movie,
Ingrid Bergman. It was a love child with an Italian director, and she was
What's her name again? The girl, the daughter.
Isabella Rossellini.
She's a twin in real life.
You can say that again.
She's a twin. But it's a neat movie. I think we talked long enough.
All right.
And I'm going to say thank you for listening and watching. Tell your friends. Please subscribe. Look at this. Puppets, things, phones, pigeons, DVDs. Thank you for listening and watching. And
Yes, and look, the con. Da, 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 da. Sorry.
Where's that hammer?
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, that has been Cancel Culture.